Hey everyone, my name's Andy. I'm a Salesforce admin, and I'm creating this beginner's guide to building Salesforce flows for any new admins or anyone that might just want a refresher. So this is episode 6, and the topic is going to be screen flow. So let's say we want a screen flow to live on this contact that we can use to quickly create a brand new case, right? So the first thing we're going to want to do is go to our case list view. We're going to hit new, and we're going to see some of the fields that we want to include in our screen. So the first one, we'll add subject. We're going to also add these lookups, and we're going to pre-populate them for the user with the contact and the account, and status and these two required fields, status and origin. We're definitely going to add those, right? Because if we keep those blank and we try to create this record, it's going to throw an error and our flow will fail. So we'll add those as well. Okay, so let's go to our flow builder. We're going to go to quick find, look up flows. Okay, we're going to hit new flow, and we're going to choose screen flow. Create. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create a variable that we can use to pass the contact record ID into this flow, okay? Unlike record triggered flows, that won't happen automatically, okay? So, and why do we want to do that? Why do we care about passing this ID? Because we want to auto-populate the contact name and the account name for the user, right? So what we'll do is over here, we'll expand this, and we're going to choose new resource. And the resource type is going to be variable. And we're just going to call this record ID. You can call it whatever you want, but I've just always called it this, and it kind of makes it easier to kind of know what it is. Contact ID to pass into the flow. Data type is going to be text. And then we're going to choose available for input. This is very important. You'll see why in a little bit, and we'll hit done. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we're going to get that contact record, okay? So we can use things like the account ID field and stuff like that. So we'll hit this plus, and we're going to choose get records. We'll say get account, or sorry, get contact, right? So gets contact from record ID. Okay, so we'll say contact, and we're going to filter ID equals that record ID variable. Okay, we're going to store the first record, and we'll automatically store all fields. That's good. Hit done. Okay, so now we're going to add our screen, and we're going to start building that out. So we'll hit this plus, and we'll under interaction, we'll choose screen. We'll call this create. Okay. Okay. Configure header. So we're going to get rid of this header. We'll just add our own little title. And configure footer. Okay. So we want to keep the footer. We don't want to get rid of it, right? But we want to change these buttons a little bit. Like I don't really need pause. So I'm going to get rid of that. Hide pause. I don't need previous either. It's only one, it's only one screen. So we'll say hide previous. And I'm going to change the finish label, right? I don't want to use finish. Instead, I want to use create. Cool. Okay. And let's add a display text so we can put a title. And we'll call this like create case title. And we'll say create a case. Okay, let's make it bold. We'll center it. Make it like 18. Cool. Okay, and now we're gonna start adding in these case fields that we want. So under input, we're gonna want to match the input type to the field type. Okay. So we're gonna do text because the subject is a text field. Type in subject. It's not required, and we don't need a default value. Perfect. Okay. So the next I want to do is I want to add the two lookups, the contact and the account. And I don't really want them to be super long like this underneath each other. I kind of want them to be side by side. So to do that, I'm going to add section. And I'm going to add a column here. And now I can put the lookups side by side. So I'm going to go up to lookup. And the API name, we'll just say we'll do contact first. And the field API name, this is going to be the field API name of the object that we want, right? So for us, it'll be case field API name of the contact lookup. So to get that really simple, we're going to go back to this list view, and I'm going to go to edit object, and that will take me right to the object. I'm going to go to fields and relationships, and I'm just going to type in contact, right? Okay. And we want contact name, right? Here's that lookup. So I'm going to grab this, paste that. The label is going to be contact name, and then the object API name is case. And if you ever want to know what that is, you can go to details. You can see it right there, case. Okay. And we're going to set a default value. So I could use this record ID variable, right? Because this is technically the record ID of the contact, but I'm going to go ahead and use the ID from the get node that we use just to kind of keep it the same as our account. So I'll click on that. I'll put ID, contact ID. So that will default value will be the contact ID. Now we're going to add another lookup. We'll call this one account. This one's going to be account ID. Label is account name. And the object API is case. And the default is going to be contact from that get account ID. Nice. Okay. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to add our two pick lists. So I'm going to add another section. I want them to be side by side again, like that. And we're going to scroll up to pick list. Okay. And the first one we'll do is status. Okay. And we're going to require it. Data type will be text. We don't want multiple options. And we want to start adding our choices. Okay. So you could manually add every choice, right? If I go to the case, we have new, working, and escalated. So I can manually add those in, add a choice. I can say new, and then I can start adding them. But the problem is if I manually add them and we ever add a new pick list value to that status field, I'm going to have to come back to this flow and update it manually again, right? We don't want that. We want it to be dynamic. So instead, I'll click here and I'll choose new choice resource. And I'm going to choose pick list choice set. Okay, we'll call this status pick list, right? And we'll say like okay. So our object is going to be case. Our data type will be pick list, and the field is going to be status. Done, right? And let's set a default value. There seems to be new here as default value. So I'm going to click here. Look at that, new. It already puts those values in there. And we're going to do that one more time for origin. Okay. It will also be required. We don't want multiple options. And we're going to set a new choice set. Pick list choice set. Okay. We'll go case. Data type is pick list. Field is origin. And there was no default set for that one. Perfect. Subject, contact, account, status, and origin. All right, we have all the fields. We'll hit done. And the last thing we need to do is just create that case. So we'll hit the plus again, go all the way down to create records. We'll say create case, right? How many records to create? One. And then how to set the record fields. We're going to use separate resources. And we're going to choose case. And we're going to manually set these values. So the first one was subject. Okay. And the value, we'll choose subject under screen components. That's what we care about, right? Same thing, contact ID. Right. We want screen component because we could use this contact from the get, but if let's say the user changes the contact, we're presetting it, but it's not set in stone, right? They could always change it. So we want to make sure we're getting whatever is shown on the screen. Same thing with account, right? They could technically change the account if they really wanted to before they create this record. Status pick list. Okay. Screen component, we want to make sure we're not grabbing the pick list choice set. And the same thing, right? We're grabbing the pick list here from the screen component, not the choice set. Okay, hit done. Cool. So we'll hit save. We'll say okay, save. And then we're going to activate. Okay, so we have one more thing to do. So we're going to jump back over here to a contact, and we're going to go to edit page. And this is going to open up the Lightning App Builder so we can edit that record page, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up flow under components. I'm just going to drag it over here on the side. And we're going to change this flow. We're going to say we want create case screen. Okay, nice. And here we go. Record ID. That's that variable that I created earlier in the video. And we're going to check this, pass record ID into this variable. Right? There you go. So now we're passing the record ID, the contact record ID, into the flow. Save. Okay, we'll back out. There we go. Contact name and account name are automatically populated. So let's go ahead and test it. We'll give it an origin of email, and we'll hit create. Okay, so if I look over here under the related section, we see a new case was created. There's our case, right? And here we go. Status is new. We have our contact, our account set. We have our origin set. And we have our subject. And that is creating a screen flow. Thanks for watching.